Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Scara from CZT Midori Furuhashi. And I hope I pronounced that right. Oh, but the name of the tangle, though, makes me think of Stargate, because there was a character. I think that was the name, Scara. Anyway, if you're a Stargate fan, remind me if I'm right or not. Makes me want to go and binge some Stargate. All right. Anywho, this is a neat tangle. It combines strokes of Cadent and Huggins. So if you are familiar with those, great. If not, don't worry about it. All right. This starts off with an orb in the center of wherever you want this. I keep going back and forth if I want it to be a larger orb. I'm going to make it a little bit larger orb than the others. Although, at the same time, I don't think it matters. All right. Now, on my version of the step-outs, instead of separating them the way sometimes I do, I decided to just put some numbers. So if you have a challenge with, what you'll see in a moment, here's how I make it easy. So, because what we're going to do is we are going to put 6 orbs around the outside of this. So what I found is easy is to go north and south. And close is fine. And then I can kind of make, say, like a triangle, or I can squeeze 2, on both sides. And actually, what I'm finding is if I kind of think, okay, middle of these 2, but over, to the side, I'm going to try to keep them around the same distance from the edge here. Although, it's kind of close. Like that. Then I'm turning the tile, do the same thing over again. And and it's just like an eyeball. It's like I can picture the orb here, and it's, it doesn't have to be exact, so don't fret about that. All right. Oh, that doesn't look too bad. And so that, doing it this way, so on any size paper that you might want to do it, this is kind of nice because I could go by the edges, sort of, and have it be somewhat consistent all the way around. But, there's multiple ways to do this. All right. You do what works for you. Like I said, if you have a challenge with it, I just wanted to put in that little bit of suggestion. Okay, now, this next stroke is like cadent. So we're going to do S shapes connecting each orb to the center. Now, this is where let's see. Well, she kind of goes way out. If you look at my version of the step out, some of them I kind of swing it way out. Some of them I don't. I think it's going to look, and I was looking at her samples. I'm like, it doesn't matter. So we're not going to worry about it. Yeah. I'm just looking again. All right. So using the takeoff and land concept, which is to trace over a little bit of one orb, go into your S, and then you land on the bottom orb, again, tracing over a little bit of that. And yeah. Like so. And so then we're just going to rinse and repeat. And, oh, that one's nice. Don't worry about how they look. This is definitely one of those, just wait till the end. Focus on the strokes at hand and don't worry about anything. Okay. Then, now here's where I saw a couple different things on the step out, on Midori's step out. And one, initially the orb, I'm going to try it separated. So on my version of the step out, I have the orbs like sitting on this line because that's what Midori had in hers. And then I'm looking at like some of the samples and even going further down. Well, wait, let's see. Well, yeah, and a little further down in Midori's step out, and they're separated a little bit because there's a neat gap that's created. So let's put it, close to, but not necessarily touching. And I'm going to say it's kind of midway here, like that. So just hovering over. So if you have it touching, it's not going to matter. It's going to be just fine. As I say that, and I put it, like I said, doesn't matter. That's our mantra here. It really doesn't matter. All right. Then we're going to do some C-shaped curve lines. And so this part is kind of like Huggins. Same idea with the takeoff and land. And we're going to come from the outer orbs. And we're going to work, let's see, this would, we're going to go to the left. Yeah, left. So that would be counterclockwise. But so we're going to connect this orb to the new one that we did. That's, I like to say behind it, but that doesn't necessarily make sense. To the one to the left of it. So like this, same idea again, take off and land. Like that. And whichever way you want to work around. Oh, and I just noticed, okay, hopefully I wasn't covering for all of that, because sometimes I don't watch the screen. I kind of get things set up here, and then I try not to worry about it. And like that. And the reason for the takeoff and land is besides it just ends up looking a lot nicer, but there's something about just the way they kind of they come off of and land on the orbs that we want them to. If we just here for instance, so if I did 2 orbs and I just said, make an S shape, we usually end up with that then, and it's just like and I've seen people that if they'll do cadent and they don't know the takeoff and land concept, and the results aren't necessarily pleasing to their eye, and that's usually why, is just getting this takeoff and land thing down. All right, now again with the C shapes, this time we're going to connect these orbs these middle orbs to that center orb. And why I'm turning my tile, I could start wherever it's comfortable, couldn't I? This one, and actually with any of them, whichever way is more comfortable for you to go. Why I'm all of a sudden needing to go from this inside out, I don't know. Sometimes I just don't question what the hand wants to do. And same idea, take off and land. And this one I'm going slow because I kind of want to get that. There we go. Well, it's in the. I have 2 left. So it's kind of in the middle of this section, but as you can see, it creates, it creates a new section right here that then we can decorate it, and then this is like part of the background. So it's a little eyeball confusing, frankly. And the challenge that I found, if I put the orb on the line, and it's not really a challenge, just the thing that I noticed, is that, this doesn't look like the whole background anymore. It creates something a little bit different. It's still fine. But then when I'm looking at the beautiful samples, I'm like, well, wait, how did she get that? So they look like separate things. And that's how, is having this pulled away from that line just a little bit. And that's all she wrote. Except that it's playtime. And let's see. I'm just looking at her samples, and it seems like she's decorated them all in a similar fashion, and I'm going to do the same thing. And that is just with some lines just dividing. So you might not have a lot of room, but don't worry about it. So I'm going to come up here. And of course you could decorate it however you feel moved to. So I'm kind of doing one coming up straight. And so the end of this is going to end up being kind of dark because I'm not worried. I'm still doing, coming from the bottom and all the way up, but just dividing that into 3 lines. And then I might either, I don't know yet, I might either thicken them or do rounding so that it looks really neat. So I'm aiming for coming up the center and then like subdividing the other 2. This one I've got nothing in the middle, but it's really wide on the top. And, and you could just, do, if you wanted to, shading up here, maybe shading down here. This is kind of automatically shading it down here with all of the lines that I'm creating. Oops. Honestly, that's another option right there that I just did by accident, air quotes. Having the one line and then just teeing off of that one line, then you don't have all of this down below here. But you know what? I started it one way. I'm going to continue like that. And I think I will just do the rounding because I think that's fun. And then, of course, you could decide, well, what do you want to do with all of these orbs? You can fill them in. You could just add some shading. If you know how to do it, you turn them into pearls or marbles or gems, whatever you want. See, it just adds something so neat when we do this rounding at the top. Now, the trick is, and this is kind of a takeoff and land kind of thing too, so I try to curve it, but then merge it into both lines, so that way I don't end up with all of those bumps. But it doesn't matter, and then sometimes I do that, because you still merge it in just a little, go a little down a little bit further, and it's just fine. So neat. And even just the thickening like you could do like this, where you just do on one side. If you've done the tangle, the fairly new tangles, mycelium or puyang from Zentangle, we use this the thickening concept in both of those tangles, where you're just putting lines in and then thickening, to one side or the other. And then that you can also do it at varying lengths, which has a neat effect. Oh, there we go. Well, I'm thinking that this is calling for, and maybe in the center too. I'm not sure about the center yet, but I'm thinking for sure these orbs definitely, oops. Maybe I don't add that little shine because some of them are rather small. So if you've not seen me do this before, I usually will put a little orb inside and make it bigger than I think. I'm going to try to do these. Let's see if I can just do them all in the same direction. So an orb, and then if it's big enough, I'll take a slice like that, just a curved line, and then sometimes I'll thicken it from the back and then fill in all of the rest of it. And then you're left with what looks like a shine. Now, if they're, like I said, if they're too small, just put the orb in there. And part of the reason I like to leave them bigger than I think is two reasons, actually. One, you see the orb, but what's going to be left is what's in the center. And then two, because, if I need to go over it, I can, I like to call it, it's like I shave off some of the space nicely. It's like if it's too big, then it's like, okay, then I can just take some off by filling it in. And then this way, if you don't have a white gel pen, then you don't have to worry about it. But even if you do, and you want to come back, and I do this for any, I do it for any time I'm doing this when I think of it. It's just that it's not completing with the ink when you put the gel pen on, and that's just nice. Because sometimes they get a little persnickety. And then usually when that happens, it's just a matter of, if you wait and then, apply some more. Although with this, I say, and then if you use, I like the Jelly Roll number 10. Some people like the Uniball Signos. Either way, so, you might have to come back and just put another dab on if it's not behaving and just kind of soaking in to the black or whatever color you're using, versus just being nice and, stark. It does seem to need to have one in the middle, doesn't it? Okay. Also, if you do like me where your orbs are a little sloppy, filling them in, number one, that's always nice. But then sometimes like this little extra part, I might start that right where I have a place that isn't, because I'll usually do them and I'll have a little tag that adds on. And then of course, because we're filling in, you can course correct. And, if you need to make some of them a little bit bigger or just even or something, nobody knows but you. It's all good. All right. So I'll add a little bit of shading. Well, you know what? I'm going to do them one at a time as to not keep flipping this tile around. And to just marvel at how cool the shading is. And, too, it can come down in here as well, which, I might do that afterwards. I like to do these things in stages. Because I might not want to put anything in the bottom. I want to see what it looks like first and then, and then decide versus just, putting graphite all over the place and then having the graphite remorse. Because that's never good. But look at how neat that's turning out. Yeah, I think for sure we're going to put some. Well, but wait. I think for sure. No, I don't know for sure. I'm thinking, yes, we'll put some in the base, but. Oh, yeah. I think I will, because I want to have the lines be a little bit more distinguishable, this part versus the other part, because there's just a bunch of lines. Now, could do something in the background. That's another option. Ooh, that seems to help. And this is why, don't judge your tangle until you're done with, and even with the shading, and even then, you can wait. And you know what? Some of it looks a little wonky, but it doesn't matter. Oh, wait, let me put it, this is where I had so I had the shine in the right, well, as if there's a right or wrong direction, in the direction that I wanted it to go. So there's that. It's a neat tangle, and it's one definitely that I know for myself is like, well, it's going to require a little bit more play. That is for sure. But even at that, it still comes out really, really neat. Doesn't matter. Do take a look at the For More Inspiration link so you can take a look at Midori's gorgeous samples to give you some ideas. And as I always do my own version of the Step Out, which you will find there also. If you've enjoyed this, please click the like button. And if you liked it enough to see more and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, would love to have you be a subscriber. In the description section, also ways to connect with me if you wish. So I have a link to my website where you can follow my blog on there, where I post things like once a day. I do a daily tangle, and that's what this is. And then I will post recaps to classes that we do. Some have replays, and some are, the classes that I have a fee. I'll still do the recap so that way you can, see all the result, because it's rather cool. And if you choose to purchase the replays, then great. If not, it's, not a biggie, but it's just fun to share the work that everybody has done, and because it's so fun to look at. So that's pretty much what I post. You can follow me on Facebook. I have a link there as well. And if you would like to have a nice group to share your Zentangle work, just in, have conversations, all things Zentangle, and fun, we'd love to have you join us. So there's a link to our private Facebook group there as well. There are 4 questions that you have to answer in order to gain entry. Just want to make you aware. And I think that that's it, except for to say thanks for watching, because I really do appreciate your watching. And I wish you happy tangling.